Right, Conti here, bringing you episode 24 of Kenshi Age of Blood and Sand Iron Man playthrough. So we're sending Nippy over to regroup with Lidus. Hopefully with Nippy going in and Lidus there as well, they'll be able to take, or not. Okay, that was anticlimactic. I was expecting Nippy to do a little bit more than just run in and go down. Not a massive issue. Nice to know that he's not completely imber and broken, because that would have not been ideal. But looks like we got a bunch of starving bandits coming in, which isn't a big issue. We'll deal with them nice and quick. But you know, sometimes Kenshi isn't actually a bad game to look at. Don't get me wrong, I haven't got any shaders or anything on, but when I get a decent PC I'll be able to do that, and this game will look mint. But yeah, some of the freeze frames you get are just wicked. I'm not sure why I'm so interested in them right now, but I really am. It reminds me of, if you ever played Halo 3, they done that model set of the Battle of Earth. It just kind of reminds me of that for some reason. Not sure why, just... It's not even headcanon, it's just... it looks shiny, so I wanted to look at it. So, I got into the episode. But we'll clear this up nice and quick. Thankfully it isn't the horde of 200, but it is going to be good training for everyone. A couple guys will go down, but it's not a big deal. But what we can see is how my passive medics are running around and healing people and taking them back to the beds, which is really good. Lidus is back up. He won't be up. Yeah, he wasn't up for long. Got two Cantino trying to fight, but he has lost a leg, so he's not going to be particularly useful at the moment. Trying to get him back is going to be a bit of a nightmare. Lidus' arm's done. Thankfully he's got a robotic one, so it can just be healed up. But yeah man, he is just getting a kicking in this tower so far. We need to get him out obviously as soon as we can, because we're going to need to go back, regroup, and I'm going to have to send over, well, it's not going to be many people to send over because I can't risk sending people over. So it'll probably just be Lidus and probably Nippy going back. Then hopefully at some point we'll be able to get two Cantino out. He doesn't seem to be bleeding out or anything at the moment, because Lidus has been healing him, so he's right, he's just got no hit points. But it's taking its time, that is definite. As Nippy is in the gatehouse, what we can do is we can just keep edging him out of the Dust Bandit tower. So eventually when he's far enough away, when he wakes up he won't get aggroed. So yeah, we got him going now. Unfortunately got tagged by a harpoon, and the bleed damage has taken him down. Not a massive issue, he will be alright there. What I can do is I can get Photo to run over, because he's got those two prosthetic legs, and he gets over there in no time. And honestly, that took Photo not long at all. Literally I clicked it and then he was already on his way over. So that was rapid. We'll just stop the bleeding and then we'll just get Photo to pick him up, and we'll run him back to the base. Once he's back at the base, we're going to be able to heal him up, put him on the bed, and then he'll heal up in no time. We got a bunch of the Hiver traders coming in. We're just going to sell off pretty much everything we can to them, for the simple reason that the armour that's in those chests, we're already producing better armour than, and the weapons that are in those chests, we're already producing better armour than. So if I sell that stuff off, yeah, I've got a couple guys without the armour, but the armour's not that great anyway. We're going to be producing better armour, so I'm not going to have to go in and swap in and out and stuff. It'll just make later on easier if I get rid of it now, if that makes sense. And we just sold a bunch of other miscellaneous stuff. We managed to get Lidus to run out. Lidus is on passive, just because I didn't want him, when he's getting up, getting straight into a fight and running back. So we'll get him back to the base, won't be an issue. I've unlocked grade 2 beds. These give extra healing, so obviously the faster you heal the better it's going to be. Also Photo's my only builder at the moment, so we got to get Photo back. And let's take Nippy up to fight something a little bit less impressive than one of the mini bosses. So we've got a bunch of balls over here. That worked pretty well. Anyway, I just sent Ray over to go fight them. Ray's going to be able to take him, it's not a massive issue. Also we can use the meat and the leather, that's always going to be useful. Other side, they drop, I believe they drop ancient science books, like the broken ones, because that's what most alpha animals drop. I could be wrong on that, but unfortunately I didn't actually have a chance to check, so I'm hoping they got scavenged when they checked the bodies. Was going back to town because I had Lidus and Nippy all healed up. Issue being, we started heading off and then I realised there's a big red blob on the map, which yet again somehow managed to miss the notice that we're about to get raided. So we've got a bunch of triangle bandits coming in, which isn't like a big issue really. It's going to be good practice for everyone. They do have some decent bleed damage on their weapons, so obviously if they're left unchecked you will lose guys, but I've got my guys that are set for fighting, so they're the front line and they'll aggro people in, and then I've got my other hives running around that are just going to be patching people up and rescuing them, so we don't have to worry too much. Our weakest in the colony aren't going to get attacked as much, so they can heal each other. Then the guys that want fighting will be fighting. So long as we don't get completely overrun, that strategy works pretty well. It seems to be working out. Alright, we haven't lost anyone in like the last 2 episodes, which is pretty impressive considering how many we have been losing, but you know hivers are expendable. They're meant to die, I guess. that doesn't sound right. And also my little hives now, when they do get attacked, they can kind of fight for themselves. So I believe that's Photo there. I didn't get a solid look, but he's doing alright. I can't complain about that. And then most of my soldier class are in armour, and now it's just going to be about getting better armour for them. And until I can get the like hive soldier plate and that, these armoured long coats are going to be the best that we can have. Not that they're amazing, but they're better than nothing, and they offer head protection and leg protection, and I'm not producing leg armour at the moment other than the samurai pants, but samurai pants aren't really armour. You know, all they do is, I think if they're like really good quality, like specialists, they might offer you like 20%, which really isn't good. But now that that attack's cleared up, we will head back to that tower. So we are healed up, which is good, so we're going in fresh. So Lidus' stats will be at max. The doggo, Nippy, is pretty much on full stats as well. Just had a couple starving bandits chasing us, not a biggie at all. So we're going to go in and hopefully we should be able to take just about everybody out, because obviously we've thinned out the numbers a lot in the last couple of attacks and a lot of them are still pretty beaten up. So yeah, Lidus is going in and he's just causing like some pretty serious damage already, which obviously is what we want. If he starts to take a bit too much damage or he starts to get overrun, then we can just pull out. So we've got Nippy going in. He's a bit tougher this time because he's taking a bunch of kickings. He's got better attack. So we have Lidus to tank, and then Nippy try and just pick people off as he can, which I reckon is going to be a pretty sweet deal. Okay, and there goes Nippy again. I mean, to be fair, he's only an adult. So if you don't know about how animals work in Kenshi, you have them when they're a puppy, then when they're a puppy they turn into a teen, when they're a teen they turn into an adult, and then from adult they turn into an elder. And each time they get bigger and their stats increase. Also their hit points increase as well. So Nippy isn't fully grown, and he hasn't got the extra stat increase, and he hasn't got the extra health. So from I'm not sure if it's actually a real thing, but it's what people say is the more you can level up your animals at a lower level, the better they can become when they're a higher level, because of the way that it scales. I haven't really seen that. What I've seen is the more you use your animal, obviously the stronger it becomes. But I guess it makes sense because their stats do jump up. But then I'm not a Kenshi expert, so don't hold me to that. Yeah, that's the word I want. Don't hold me to that. But yeah, we look like we're doing good, man. Like a far better situation than last episode. We're taking just about everyone out that we can, but I think it's time to bail. We'll get 2 Cantino, and we're going to get as far out the tower as we can. Nippy will be up eventually, and then we can just rely on him to run out. He's fine. I don't need to worry too much about him bleeding out. He hasn't got much blood left, but he's still a bit of a thick boy, so he'll be fine. We'll get as far out the tower as we can, de-aggro as many of them, and man, that Dust King is rapid. So we are going to have to fight, unfortunately. But then that could be a good thing, because now we are only fighting the Dust King pretty much by himself. Well, he's with 2 others, but those 2 will just get hit by the AoEs as the fight goes on, so I am not too fussed about that. So we drop down to Cantino just about here. Thankfully he's unconscious and he's flying about. And like I said, each time we attack, the AoE will hopefully take out one of the other bandits. So there's 1 down, so that's pretty easy. It looks like the second one went down as well from that. Oh no, he's just stunned. So he's on his way back up. Not a massive issue. We just give him a little clout and then he should be down nice and soon. But if we're focusing against the Dust King, like one-on-one, I believe Lidus should win. He's got way better armor than we have and he does have a far better weapon, but we have better stats than he does. We're taking a bit of a kicking, so our stats aren't as good as they could be, but as this fight carries on, the Dust King's going to get more damage. The more damage he is, the lower his stats are, and then it'll be more of an even playing field. But I reckon Lidus has got this. What I would be interested in, because where he's not a normal person, he's what they call a juggernaut, so they're basically human praetorians, is who would win in a fight between him and the Bugmaster. Now the Bugmaster's got way better stats, like easy, but the Bugmaster's doesn't have any armor, and that hunting saber is pretty deadly, so it would be a good fight for the simple fact that if he the Dust King got any attacks off, it would proper mess up the Bugmaster to the point where the stats would start to like equal out. And then the other side is the Dust King can take way more of a kick in than the Bugmaster can. Firstly, the Bugmaster's only human, so it's 100 hit points across the board, and he has no armor on. But the Dust King on the other side, Masterwork Samurai Plate, which is pretty beast, decent stats, and a juggernaut. So as like a 1 versus 1, taking down the Dust King I reckon is probably harder than taking on the Bugmaster, so seeing who'd win between the 2 would be quite interesting. The other side is probably can't do it in this playthrough because Lidus needs to beat down the Bugmaster with an iron club just to try and prove how much more challenging the Age of Blood and Sand is over vanilla. Because in vanilla, if I had Lidus and he walked into that Dust King's tower right there, yeah man, that would have been game over. Like that would have been a very quick and a very easy like mini boss to take out, but this has proven to be a bit more of a challenge than I thought it would be. So I'll be interested to see how that would play out, but it does mean I am going to need to treat the other bosses with a bit more respect. I can't just run in and hope for the best, because Lidus can't get that much better. His stats are like 80s, I think he's got a couple stats in the 90s, so there isn't that much room for him to get much better. His equipment's not very good, so he could get like way better equipment, but then when you start getting into plate and that, it's got a lot of negative effects on like your combat multipliers. So it's got a lot of combat debuffs, so sometimes you're better off not wearing the heavy plate. But then the other side is it depends on what you're fighting. So if you really want to look into it, you just choose your loadouts according to what you're fighting. Whereas that's not really how I do it. I like to find what loadout works best across the board. It means you're not producing like multiple different armor sets. The micromanagement is less, so it makes it a little bit easier. Now if this had the RimWorld feature, where you could choose the outfits, you could choose what weapon and what armor they had, then yeah, by all means I would have like multiple different types of armors. So I could be just literally click a tab, click, choose outfit, and then choose a preset, and then my guys would go off and change into that. If that was the case, yeah, I'd use it all of the time. Like that would be such a good quality of life mod. So if any modders out there hear this and they reckon that can be done with the game mechanics, man, please go for it. That would be insane. But saying about what would be insane, oh, we have taken down Dust Bandit. So we'll take his Samurai Plate, and then we'll also take the Me Too Hunting Saber, and we'll go drop that off to Cantino. So that's the whole point of the adventure, is get that. Then we'll pick up the Dust Bandit and we'll run him down to Squin so I can trade him in for the bounty. But saying what would be amazing, or mental, is putting armor on Nippy. So Nippy's going down quite quick because obviously he hasn't got any armor. But if he had like some heavy plate on him, like Bone Dog armor, that would be so much fun. What we are going to need to do is we're going to need to get a photo to run back to pick up Cantino, because Cantino is in a coma and he is missing a leg. So we can swap the leg across with Lidus, that's not going to be an issue. But just getting him back to the base is going to be way easier if we just get a photo to run in, pick him up and run back, which will be there shortly. What we'll do with the Dust Bandit is we're going to head down towards the Shet Kingdom. Once we're down in the Shet Kingdom, we'll head towards Squin, I reckon, and then we'll hand the bounty in there. So things are starting to look up for us, which is pretty good. We got the Dust Kings, we're going to get a bunch of money. Cantino has got his equipment, and he also got out, and he's only lost a leg, which is pretty good. And we've also got Nippy back, so things are looking good for us. But with that, I'm going to need to bring the episode to an end. So thank you very much for watching episode 24 of Kenshi, Age of Blood and Sand. I have been Konzi, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.